What can I do? What can I do that will really make a difference? And you take that passion and you match it up with your giftedness, your spiritual gift. See, to find your purpose, your passion will take you there almost all the way, but your strengths, your giftedness, your abilities, it'll take you there all the way. Because I'm so glad to be with you. My name's John. I'm your friend. On the count of three, give me your name. 1, 2, 3. Nice to meet you. I want to thank you for, you financially help equip my nonprofit organization that trains leaders around the world. We're the largest leadership training organization in the world. We've trained 6 million leaders in every country. And so I'm teaching them leadership. And so secular, totally secular company. And one of the vice presidents raised his hand and said, John, he said, your material's amazing. We've been writing this stuff down all day. It's so good. It's so solid. But he said, I've never heard anything quite like it. He said, would you mind, where do you get your leadership material? And where do you get your leadership knowledge and resources and information? And I smiled and I said, you don't want to know. And he said, what do you mean? I said, I do want to know. And I smiled again and said, you're going to have to trust me on this. You don't want to know. Now, I love dealing with the secular business world because when you tell them they don't want to know, you drive them crazy. I said, okay, I'll tell you. But I said, when I tell you, you're going to be disappointed. I said, everything I taught you today, I got right out of the Bible. And they all went, oh. And I said, I told you I'd disappoint you. I told you that. I said, I know, I see you got a cocktail hour at 6:30 this evening. I'll be there. If you have any question about God, I'll just hang. Come and see me. I went down at 6:30, and from 6:30 to 7:45, the line never stopped. And I want to talk to you about how to make a difference, and I want to talk to you about my journey, my 4-step simple journey in making a difference, because every one of you, it will apply to you. You're going to learn something right now that's going to be applied the rest of your life. So look at the person you're sitting beside and say, you're about to learn something. Go ahead and tell them that. You're about to learn something. Look right back at him and say, why do you think I brought you here? You see, my journey on how to make a difference was when I was in my 20s, and my assistant, I was a pastor. I started off pastoring. She gave me a Christmas present. I opened it up, and the title, it was a book, and the title of the book was The Greatest Story Ever Told. With great anticipation, opened up the book, and when I opened up the book, much to my surprise, all the pages were blank. And I looked at her, I said, well, it says the greatest story ever told. She said, turn to the first page. I turned to the first page, and she had written a note for me. Dear John, your life is before you. You fill these pages with your dreams, with your hopes, with matters of your heart. You write your story and make it the greatest story ever told. I took that book home with me. And the next morning, I wasn't a writer at that time at all. Next morning, I started writing my first book, and this was for me. And the first words on that blank page, the first words I put on that blank page was, I want to make a difference. Because that's exactly what I want to do. I want to make a difference. So as you start to take this Make a Difference journey in our series that we've been doing on vision, and this is the last of the 4, as you start your Make a Difference journey, the first step one is, I want to make a difference. When you think about it, when you're making a difference, your spirit is high, your morale is high. You all of a sudden you feel good about yourself and you feel good about others. I wish you could meet my dad. He's still alive. He's 96, and he'll be 97 in November, and he's an incredible man. When my mother died, I'm the middle child, 3 of us children. We went to him and asked him to go to an assisted care place. He was still dry. He was in great shape, but we just wanted to be close to medical help, and they were building one very close to his home, and so he said yes, and so he would go over and visit him while they were building it, and he'll say, "Well, I'm going to be here, you know, and I'm going to be here," and he'd go over and visit. Everybody knew him, and so one day we're having lunch. He said, "Dad, John," he said, when they move us in, I'm going to be the first one to move in." I said, that's nice. I said, what do you want to be the first one? He said, well, son, think about it for a moment. There's going to be a bunch of old people there. Never entered his mind that he was old. He said, there's going to be a bunch of old people there. And he said, I want to be the first one moved in. So when they come and they're kind of fearful and anxious about this new place they're going to, I can meet them at the front door and shake their hand and say, my name is Melvin Maxwell, and I'm going to be your neighbor, and it's going to be okay. I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to make a difference at that front door. And he did. And then, after he's in a few months, I'm talking to him again. He says, I'm the chaplain now here. I said, that's good. I said, that's good, Dad. I said, how'd you become chaplain? He said, well, there wasn't any. He said, I looked around, there wasn't any chaplain, and so he said, I just raised my hand and made myself chaplain. And he said, I'm the chaplain now. And so here's the chaplain. I'm back up, I'm seeing him all. And he started it. They talked him into letting him start a little church. And they gave him a room there in the assisted care. And he filled the first service up. And so he had a second service, filled that one up. And then he had a night service and filled that up. And I'm having lunch again with him another time. And he said, son, we're packed out. He said, we're packed out. He said, I don't know what we're going to do. We're packed out. He said, I'm looking into satellite right now. I'm looking at satellite. He's 93 and he's looking into satellite. Come on. He's 93. Another time he told me this, I love this. He said, I named my church. So, I'm with my dad. I'm always fastening my seatbelt. I said, oh, that's good, Dad. I said, well, what did he name the church? Well, he said, first of all, son, let me give you the context. He said, they're all old. They're old. He said, they're just old people, son. Do you realize how old those people are? They're old. And he said, they come to my church. He said, they're near death. He said, I call my church the first church of the last chance. Isn't that good? First church, last chance. Hey, you better get in now. You're going soon, baby. Woo! You're on a fast slide down there. Let's go. Always encouraging people. I asked him one time, I said, Dad, how do you know people need to be encouraged? Oh, he said, son, that's simple. If they're breathing. He said, if you're breathing, you need to be encouraged. He said, that's why I encourage everyone. Son, if they're breathing, they need to be encouraged. He said, now, let me tell you this. Let me give you a hint. If they're not breathing, don't waste your time. I saw him the other day. In the last year and a half, he worked full-time as a chaplain until about a year and a half ago, and he fell and he broke 6 ribs, and then he had a stroke. And so he's in a wheelchair. And over the last year, I've been walking with him, and he'd be in the wheelchair, and he'd call me close to him, and for a while, his stroke had really, really affected his speech. And he'd call me, get me real close, and he'd get real close, and he'd whisper in my ear. He'd say, son, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. He's 96. I'm coming back. I said, Dad, you got a 96-year-old body and a 26-year-old will. I'm coming back. In the last 6 weeks, 8 weeks, he's now out of the wheelchair, back at the walker. Back at the walker. And he's so we're out to lunch the other day or dinner. And he said, all I really want to eat is ice cream. And so I got him a big thing of ice cream. That big. When you're 96, you can eat anything you want. And he looks at me, he said, son, I've been praying. And God has shown me. Now listen, the greatest opportunities are still before me to help people. He's 96. The greatest opportunities are still before me to help people. I want to make a difference. Step 2, doing something that makes a difference. You take that passion of wanting to make a difference, and then you say, okay, what can I do? What can I do that will really make a difference? And you take that passion and you match it up with your giftedness, your spiritual gift. What is your giftedness that God has given you? Because you see, to find your purpose, your passion will take you there almost all the way, but your strengths, your giftedness, your abilities, it'll take you there all the way. Because God created you with your gifts to fulfill that purpose. I want to make a difference doing something that makes a difference. But point 3, with people who want to make a difference. You see, one is too small of a number to achieve greatness. I wrote a book called The Laws of Teamwork. And one of the laws of teamwork is the law of Mount Everest. And the law of Mount Everest says, as the challenge escalates, the need for teamwork elevates. In other words, if you're going to climb Mount Everest, you don't do it alone. I mean, if I told you I'm leaving here, and I forget the president in Kenya. I'm leaving here, I'm going to go over to Nepal, and I got my shorts and I got my sneakers, and I thought I'd spend the first couple days next week. I think I'm going to just run up the top of Mount Everest and plant a flag. Well, you look at each other and say, the man's an idiot. You don't run to the top of Mount Everest. And you don't do it alone. Nobody's ever gone up to the top of Mount. You see, it's too big of a deal. It's too big of a mountain. It's too hard. You can't get it up there without the help of someone else. I love it when people come to me and say, well, I'm a self-made man. And I always look at them and say, oh, I'm so sorry. That's too bad. I say, what do you mean? Well, it's too bad you're self-made, because if you made everything yourself, you ain't made much. No. One's too small of a number. One's too small of a number to achieve greatness. You see, you do it together. I want to make a difference, doing something that makes a difference with people. Now, there's got to be the right kind of people, with people who want to make a difference. You got to be careful. There's a bunch of people, they're not doing anything. You understand that? They're not the ones you hang around with. You want to hang around with people who want to make a difference. In the beginning, I just thought I would do it with people, so I tried to get people together, and some of the people I got together, they didn't want to do anything. Have you ever met anybody like that? It's awful hard to hit the ball and drag Charlie, hit the ball and drag Charlie, hit the ball and drag Charlie, hit the ball and drag Charlie. After a while, don't you just want to hit Charlie? Number 4. Before I give you number 4, are you learning something? Okay, just checking. Learned a long time ago, don't teach people who don't want to learn. It's too close to lunch. By the way, whenever you're listening to a speaker and it's about this time and you think they're going to go on and on and on, and you're a little worried and you're getting a little hungry, and you're thinking, does he realize what time it is? Will he stop? Do you think we'll get lunch? I'm going to help you out. My name's John. I'm your friend. Look at the speaker. If he's fat like me, you'll break for lunch. Absolutely. Number 4, at a time when it makes a difference. Wow. And the time is now. Make every day your masterpiece. The secret of your success, the secret of my success, is determined by what we do daily. And we've missed this all the time. I wrote a book called Today Matters. And the reason I wrote the book Today Matters is because today matters. We over-exaggerate yesterday. We just think we were amazing yesterday. We weren't. Just trust me. Of course, when you're my age, 71, you don't need to worry about it. You forget. The other day I was in a car and Margaret looked at me and said, John, we're forgetting everything. I said, we kind of are, aren't we? She said, let's do a plan. I said, what's your plan? She said, you remember who we are, and I'll remember where we're going. Hey, it's working. It's really working. You got to divide it up a little bit. You got to divide it up. We over-exaggerate yesterday. Hey, we overestimate tomorrow. Oh, yeah. Oh, tomorrow. I'll get to that tomorrow. Oh, yeah. I'll do that. Oh, yeah. Tomorrow. By the way, good intentions are worthless. Worthless, folks. When are you going to fall out of love with good intentions? They're worthless. Good intentions are worthless unless they lead to good actions. Nobody ever had their life changed by somebody hoping, thinking. Good intentions are not enough. So I'm going to give you, in closing, I'm going to give you 5 things that I do every day to add value to people, okay? Because there are 5 things I do every day. Every day. You say, John, what do you mean by every day? I don't want to go too deep on you. Don't want to go over your head. I mean every day. Number 1, every day, I value people. And you say, okay, when you say you value people, I mean, who do you value? Everyone. And you say, what do you mean by everyone? Everyone. If you look at the life of Jesus in the Gospels, the one thing you come after reading Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John is that man valued everybody. And the only people who didn't like it were religious people. We've got to make a decision. Are we going to start connecting with people, or are we going to keep correcting people? We okay? My name's John. I'm your friend. So every day I value people, 1. Number 2, every day I think of ways to add value to people. Every day I think of ways to add value to people. About a month ago, I was talking to Stephen on the phone about me coming out here, and he said you were going to be in this vision series, and he's telling that the message that wouldn't be preached by the time I got here would be, I want to make a difference. I said, well, could I preach that message for you? And he said, well, sure, if you want. So I want to. I want to. What am I doing? Before I ever got here, a month before, I'm thinking of a way to add value to you. Add value to him. I mean, I could have said, no, I got my little sugar sticks I'd rather preach. No, I've never preached this before. I developed this message just for you today. It's all yours. It's the covenant message. Nobody else gets it. They don't get it. Now, it's very simple. Why? Because I think of ways of adding value to people. Number 3, every day I look for ways. I look for ways to add value to people. And let me say, you see what you anticipate. So when you anticipate of adding value to people, you start seeing ways to add value to people. Just as if most people, they don't get up in the morning and say, how can I add value to people? Most people get up in the morning and say, who's going to add value to me? We're all selfish. Are you with me? And if you don't think you're selfish, outside of the fact you don't think, if you don't think you're selfish, let me ask you a very simple question. The next time you're in a group picture, when you see that group picture, could I ask you a question? Who is the first person you look for in that picture? Now, come on now. Hey, and if you look bad, you say, oh, terrible picture, bad picture. Back here, come on, do it again. Come on, group, come on. Do it one more time. Yeah, come on. And if you look good in the picture, you say, oh, great picture. Send that to you. Yeah. That's why in adding value to people, you have to be intentional. Because it's not natural. The selfish nature of us is, who's going to do something for me today? Every day, I value people, think of ways to add value to people, look for ways to add value to people. Therefore, I do things. Every day, I do things that add value to people. Every day, I do things that add value to people. Every day. Margaret and I have 5 grandchildren. And so James, who was 9 at the time, because I'm asking him all the time, okay, how are we going to add value to people? Because they know this. They know this lesson. Trust me, they know this lesson. And James, who was 9, said, I know what I'm going to do, Papa. He said, tomorrow when we go to school, I'm going to open doors for everybody. And I'm going to not only open doors, I'm going to smile and say, have a good day. Next evening, he called me. He said, Papa, I had a great day. Tell me about it, James. He said, I opened 47 doors today for people, and I smiled 47 times and said, have a good day. He's 9 years old and he's already got it figured out. I know people. Come on now. He's already got it figured out. I know people that are 79 and they haven't figured it out. Every day, value people, think of ways to add value to people, look for ways to add value to people, do things that add value to people. Number 5, every day I encourage others to add value to people. Oh yeah, that's what I'm doing with you right now. I'm encouraging you to add value to other people. Wow. I have privileged in one of my businesses to have a coaching company called the John Maxwell Team. Some of my coaches are here today. We started 6 years ago. We now have 20,000 coaches in 142 countries of the world. Fastest growing, top coaching company. And you know what? We teach them every time they come. They come every 6 months to Orlando, and we teach all of our new ones when they come in the John Maxwell Team DNA. And right at the top of that list is we value people. In fact, I tell my coaches, you are people of value that add value to others. That's who you are. You're people of value that add value to others. If you don't value yourself, you won't value anyone else. That's what Jesus said. You got to love yourself so you can love your neighbor. Love your neighbor as yourself. Every day I do those 5 things. Value people. Think of ways to add value to people. Look for ways. Do things. And encourage others to value people.